Hey guys, good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to this next iced coffee date. I am going to share the details of week 7 of my 12-week cut. And if you were just watching and we got cut off, I apologize. Technology is not my friend. So I'm going to recap real quick. You may have already heard some of this, but I'm trucking along with everything. I do think last week, if you missed that video, so week 6 recap, that was kind of the kick in the butt that I needed as far as doing the things that you need to do to get results, because last week I definitely didn't. I had a little bit of diet fatigue, didn't feel like tracking anything. I had a case of the fuckets, as we say with our clients, where you're just like, F it, I'm just not gonna do what I need to do. And then, saw the scale go up, and I did feel like I just probably wasn't making any progress. So this week I got it together. I was on top of things. I really went above and beyond. I prioritized my protein goal. Prior to this, my goal was 100 grams or more. And honestly, I was hitting 100 grams, but I wasn't doing anything extra. And this time, this past week, I really made it a point. So I was getting 120 grams. I think I got 130 grams a few days, but really prioritized the protein. I also really tried to get my fiber in, getting more vegetables in. I was having vegetables with pretty much every meal, to the point where we are out of them, and I'm gonna go run and grab some veggies because we basically ate all the veggies that we had in the house. My walking was really good. Walking at this point is my only fitness. I am still injured, and prior to this it was, let's do a little bit of fitness to keep you moving and maybe strengthen some weak areas and all that. And I am at the point now where nothing has improved. I'd say maybe I'm even worse. So now we're doing the opposite and doing as little activity as possible. I'm still doing my walks, but I've been just doing shorter walks, but trying to hit that 7,500 steps. There are some days I hit 10,000 steps. So I'm definitely trying to just get low-key activity throughout the day because I can't strength train. And looking back at this 12-week cut, it's going to be kind of a bummer because there was no strength training during this time. So I'm really curious to see how much muscle I'm going to lose, which is going to be such a bummer. And you guys know, when you lose muscle, you lose that shape of your body. You lose that toned look we all want. So I definitely don't want to be skinny fat at the end of all this, but I literally can't pick up heavy things. I can barely even pick up Murphy. It hurts when I pick up the dog. So kind of a bummer, but also goes to show you just how important the food part of a cut is versus just trying to exercise a ton. So it is what it is. I'm doing the best I can here. And then also wanted to let you guys know that I do feel maybe I've hit a little bit of a plateau. Again, just going off the number on the scale, because I basically things stayed the same, which is fine. I think technically the scale was down 0.6, so number of the scale really doesn't mean much. And honestly, I have a post coming for you guys all about hydration and water weight on the scale. And once you learn about that, you'll know how meaningless the number on the scale really is when it comes to those small fluctuations, because your weight on the scale with water can fluctuate 2 to 4 pounds, and depending on how you're living your life, the scale could be up or down for those reasons. So me just getting that one number, I'm I guess it could be a plateau, but at the same time I don't feel anything significant has happened in the last couple of weeks. So I'm going to talk about some strategies for plateaus, which I probably should have said in the beginning. Figured that's the stuff most people want to hear about. So when one of our clients gets to a plateau, typically we have them plateau for 2 weeks before we do anything to their macros, because like I was saying with the scale, so much can happen from week to week, day to day on the scale that we don't want to drastically cut calories. Again, the goal is to eat or to consume as much as possible while still losing weight. So if you're quickly cutting those calories and you have, ants in your pants to get to a really low number, you're not doing yourself any favors, because you're making that cut harder. You have to eat less food. It's going to be harder for you to maintain all of that muscle. You're probably going to be moody and have low energy and all of that. So our goal is that slow and steady fat loss, even during a cut. When somebody does have something in mind, or a specific number in mind, they have a specific time frame in mind, we still don't rush it. We really are about slow and steady, but at the same time, sometimes you do need to push your body a little bit to get those results. And I was actually listening to a podcast on Mind Pump. It's actually one of the more recent ones if you're a Mind Pump person, but they were talking about how to properly do a female bulk. And that's something, you know, I was working on in the fall through the winter up until I started this cut. And the woman who was on there, she was doing it exactly how she was supposed to. Like, the guys on Mind Pump were actually like applauding her for being like, you're actually doing this the responsible way and the right way and the patient way and all of that. But the interesting thing that stuck out from that is just how drastic of a calorie deficit she was taking from her bulk to her cut. And again, everybody's different. I mean, her body size, she weighed less than me, but she had a higher body fat percentage. So, you know, it's not necessarily like apples to apples, you know, like how much you should cut for calories, but it was just, it stuck out as far as like her calorie deficit was like 900 calories, which I was like, that's pretty significant. Cause at this point I'm like 200 to 400 calories, you know what I mean? So I haven't really taken like a big deficit. So all this to say, I think if I want to continue to see progress and like, you know, take this cut through to the end, I might have to cut a little bit more as far as calories go. And you guys know, I'm not a fan of not eating. I really like food, and like the whole idea of like not consuming enough like stresses me out a little bit, but I'm also like, it's only 4 weeks. Let's just see what happens. And honestly, like when this cut is over, like I'm planning to reverse diet back to my calories. Like the diet's not over when you get to the end of the diet, you still have to reverse back. And that, you know, takes time and patience and consistency and like all the things. So, you know, when we have a start-stop date for our cuts, there's also a reverse diet after that. So it's not like it just ends. Like there's still way more that we need to do. But anyways, I am probably going to cut my calories. I think I'm going to cut down 50 calories. So I'll be at 2,000 to 2,200. And I'm going to try to just to be a little bit closer to the 2,000 to see if we can like really move things. I don't like having like a specific number, just like hitting your macros. I don't know. It's just not for me, like mentally. I don't like that. I like having the range and I like having the wiggle room, but I do think I should push it a little bit if I want to see some like progress. Because at this point, you know, I've lost like 3 to 4 pounds, which is 3 to 4 pounds. We'll take it. But I'm also like, let's finish this thing strong and do it the right way. Besides cutting calories for a plateau, typically what we tell our clients is to have them be really accurate with their weighing and measuring and tracking and all of that. Because I think a lot of times people are just kind of like estimating or winging it, or they're not weighing everything, or they're not tracking everything. So that's typically what we ask them. Like you have to ensure that you're in a calorie deficit to lose weight, lose fat and muscle. So like just making sure you actually are in that calorie deficit by making sure you're being pretty accurate with your weighing and measuring. Also, we talk about food quality. There's definitely like high quality whole foods, and then there's like processed food. So a lot of times we'll do kind of like an audit of the food diary and just offer suggestions as far as getting more whole foods, avoiding some of that processed fake stuff, and just pushing the client there. Because, you know, with whole foods and like the thermic effect of foods, like your body requires more energy and calories to break down whole foods and protein and things like that. So really just switching up the types of food that you're eating can make you, or it can like push that progress, and then also just make you feel better. We have a client at Fit and Fueled right now who she's really doing her best to eat whole foods and hit her protein goal and everything. And she's been talking about just how good she feels and how her sugar cravings have gone away. And I was like, oh, it's funny how that happens when you eat what you're supposed to eat. The sugar cravings go away. Not to her specifically, but just like in general, like it's just crazy like how these things happen. Like when you feed your body well, you nourish your body, you keep your blood sugar balanced, it becomes so much easier to like deal with cravings and things like that. The other thing we talk about related to that is fiber. So like, you know, we're talking about protein. But when somebody hits this like plateau or they're struggling, we really have them focus on fiber, because again, that fiber is so good for your digestion. It's good for your blood sugar as far as like just slowing down that glucose response as much as possible. So not as much insulin goes out. So it could help you in the long run as far as losing weight goes. And of course, when you're eating like enough fiber, you're probably eating enough whole foods, because that's where you get fiber. Fruits and veggies, whole grains, things like that. So we always talk about that. The other thing, related to that, which I thought was really great. So I've been really into the Glucose Goddess. We're coming up to a blood sugar module with the Fit and Fueled ladies pretty soon. They have another week on mindset this week, but then we're moving into blood sugar, either for 1 or 2 weeks, because I do think blood sugar is like really foundational, but I've been trying to add in, like I said, more veggies, but starting my meal with like a big like bowl of broccoli or cauliflower or kind of like a pseudo salad. I've been doing like Greek salads and stuff like that this week. But starting with those veggies to get that fiber in, because that veggie starter essentially will slow that glucose spike and also just keep you fuller in the long run and just getting more of that fiber in. So I've been doing that this week. And then, of course, more walking, more movement. We just encourage our clients, even if it's a 5-minute walk, a 10-minute walk, you know, parking the car at the back of Target and walking in, you know what I mean? Just little things like that just to increase your movement, because all of that adds up. I don't think you have to do like a million workouts in a day. It's just like get all that movement in. And then, of course, we'll talk about sleep. Sleep is so important as far as blood sugar goes. Again, recovery, all that good stuff. And then, we'll cut calories. And we will either cut calories from fat or from carbs. We don't normally cut from protein because protein is really a building block and really important for maintaining muscle when you're in this cut phase. Because when you're cutting or in like a calorie deficit, you could be losing fat, but you could also be losing muscle. But making sure you're getting enough protein can help maintain that muscle. So we never cut from protein. I mean, if anything, we might like increase that protein goal just to make sure you're getting enough in. And then when we're doing a calorie deficit or cutting calories as far as the plateau goes, we'll cut from fat or carbs because those are energy sources. And it just really depends on the client. I'll typically cut from my fat just because I really like carbs, and carbs are our body's fueled source. And you can eat more carbs because for every macro or every carb macro, there are 4 calories, and for every fat macro, there are 9 calories. So you're essentially getting like almost double when you have all those carbs. So a lot of times I'll leave the carbs, but again, depends on the person. If you have like major blood sugar problems or you're just eating too many carbs in general, maybe you're cutting from carbs, you know, keeping the fat where it is. So it just kind of depends on the person and their activity level, like depending on how much exercise you're doing. Not really doing much exercise, so maybe I should be cutting from the carbs. It sucks not being able to work out. I'm so over it. So over it. All right, so that's what I have going into week 8. So just gonna keep crushing that protein goal, move as much as I can, get more fiber in, like I said, you know, starting most meals with veggies. I was gonna do it for breakfast this morning, and I have eaten all of our veggies. We had some carrots, but I was like, I don't know if I want to cook up some carrots at, 6:30 in the morning. So I'm going to get some veggies and do a little meal prep and all of that today, but really trying to get the fiber in this week. And yeah, just going to keep trucking along, and who knows, maybe in the next few weeks, I'll be able to exercise again and lift heavy things. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you for the next one.